Welcome to this introductory lecture on the Integrative Psychiatry model. Here we'll examine a sort of meta-model for our approach to integrative psychiatry to organize our efforts. Integrative psychiatry is a marriage of conventional and functional medicine that aims to incorporate a holistic diagnostic and management toolkit to target the root cause or causes of illness and personalize care to the individual. Having a general roadmap or guide to approach this level of complexity is critical. In the consideration of the whole person, integrative psychiatry considers the interactions between below-the-neck systems and above-the-neck activity. This becomes the first major functional division guiding personalized care. Through the lens of the above-neck experiences, we consider the phenotypic expression of the individual. This is where we often examine symptoms such as depression, anxiety, impaired focus, and psychosis, among other things. This is also where we see a coalescence of symptoms in a syndromic fashion, fitting our conceptualization of things like major depressive disorder, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, and social anxiety disorder, among other conditions. The symptoms and syndromes, when in combination, reflect underlying acute and chronic neurobiological alterations. On the macroscopic level, we see connectivity impairments where regions of the brain are not communicating and connecting appropriately with others, leading to an upset in dynamic equilibrium, changing balance. On a microscopic level, we see biochemical disconnectivity and impaired communication and tend to focus especially on neurotransmission, but also consider the effect of longer-term communication molecules, hormones. Practically, I like to divide the brain into three parts: the human brain, the mammalian brain, and the reptilian brain. These three functional divisions help to broadly capture top-down versus bottom-up dynamics. The human brain is the topmost layer and is responsible for goal-directed action, narrativization, engagement, and executive functioning, among other things. This largely corresponds with the cortices and the synchrony between lobe-related functional regions. Optimal functioning of the brain regions contained here requires a complex orchestration of the underlying layers in order to actualize these functional capacities. The mammalian brain is the next layer down and is responsible for several bottom-up considerations, including the generation and influence of emotion. This largely corresponds with activity in the limbic system and has the capacity to override the human brain. The reptilian brain includes the bottom-most layer and is responsible for our felt sense of emotion through activity in the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems. Based on this activity, impulsivity, compulsivity can override upper-level actions, and an individual can experience a general hyperarousal or hypoarousal state. In conventional practice, much emphasis is placed on above-the-neck phenomena and associated diagnostic and treatment modalities. With this emphasis, you'll undoubtedly encounter significant heterogeneity, hindering the reliability and validity of diagnosis and in personalizing care. In integrative psychiatry, above-the-neck phenotypes guides us into below-the-neck exploration. Here we consider advanced laboratory and diagnostic testing to explore these systems in more detail. Incorporating below-the-neck considerations, we can examine the influence of the immune-brain axis, gut-brain axis, hypothalamic-pituitary-adrenal axis, hypothalamic-pituitary-thyroid axis, and hypothalamic-pituitary-gonadal axis, among other systems. In a step further, a below-the-neck focus incorporates the examination of cellular and biochemical activities in more detail, such as epigenetics, methylation, mitochondrial functioning, oxidative stress, inflammation, and detoxification, among other metabolic activities. This in-depth analysis leads us to a place where we can more holistically consider the individual and construct an individualized plan of care. Individuals do not operate in isolation, closed off from the environment, but we are by nature relational creatures. The next consideration, then, is the interaction between the internal and external environment. Exposomics is the study of environmental exposures that an individual encounters throughout a lifetime. The exposome can be divided into the internal exposome, genomics, transcriptomics, proteomics, metabolomics, etc., and the external exposome, lifestyle, ecosystem, environmental exposures, etc. The division between the internal and external exposome is a self-other interface, where above-the-neck and below-the-neck systems maintain a boundary and govern interactions. With the addition of this focus, we can consider how to modify the interactions between the internal and external environment to support the individual we are working with. This includes lifestyle medicine interventions. The dynamic interactions amongst these divisions generate the phenotypic variations or symptom clusters we see in clinical practice. This model accounts for the heterogeneity encountered in syndromic presentations, as well as treatment responsiveness. Consideration of these functional divisions assists in a more in-depth analysis of the individual's experiences as they relate to various biopsychosocial or mind-body-spirit factors. Thank you for listening.